I believe we are live.
Right?
So, welcome everyone to Burning Issues live stream with the Ladder Burners. I am Jenny Knuth, your Ladder Burner consultant and host for our conversation today. We have Alan Patterson, Chief Executive Ladder Burner and author of the latest Burn Ladders to Build Bridges book that we've been talking about here and there over the last few months. And then we have two young professionals here with us today. We've got Anna Huck, event specialist with Envision Greater Fond du Lac. And then we have Mitch Wechter, who is a senior at UW Stout, studying mechanical engineering. And Mitch has had some pretty significant experience interning with a company, if people are familiar in the general probably Midwest, but Greater Fond du Lac area, Ahern. So we are thrilled to have you all with us today and excited to jump into conversations about success at work. That's been the build over the last few months. And these burning issues conversations are really about bringing people together to talk about hot topics or just ongoing things in the workplace. And really, we want to challenge ourselves, but others listening to think about work differently, especially their career development differently. So today, before we jump into the conversation, I want to spin it around a little bit and Mitch, I know you. We've got some family ties.
Yes,
So
for sure.
grateful you could join. And we were chit-chatting a couple months back, I think at a graduation party or something like that about your career and like where you're at and how excited you are and just I was like, all right, Mitch is a ladder burner in the making for sure.
Good.
And so glad you could join us today. Between your quarterback practices, I know it's a busy start of the season for you, school wise and sports wise too.
Yeah, yeah.
So um, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying,
Were you
thanks
gonna
for
say
having
something?
me on. I'm, ready to have a conversation.
Perfect, perfect. Well, I guess we'll jump right on in with you, Mitch. Could you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Maybe why you went into mechanical engineering or something about, UW Stout, your experience, whatever comes to mind, just a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I'm Mitchell Wechter. I'll be a senior at UW Stout, studying mechanical engineering. Jenny said it. I play football too. On the back end of, I go to school, play football too. One of the things that really brought me to mechanical engineering is, so my dad, he was really in the construction industry when, since I was that I can remember. I mean, since I was like 3 years old, all I can remember is being on a construction site. And going through all the processes, like I want to be maybe an architect one day, maybe an engineer. So I knew I just wanted to be part of the construction, the building on a job site. So that's kind of how I started. And then getting into picking my schools, I knew that I wanted to play football somewhere. That was a big thing, but I knew school came first. So I tried to, where the offers that I got to play football, I kind of picked out the schools that, had engineering or the like job, like where you can go on a job site and like a construction management kind of a degree. So I was trying to pick the schools that had that, and I got offers from UW Stout and then Platteville. So those are two really good engineering schools in Wisconsin. And I knew I didn't want to go way out of state, somewhere where I'm really far away from home, because I mean, either way, Platteville or Stout, it's a 3.5 hour drive away from home. So it's quite a bit, quite far away from home, but it wasn't too far away where I can
Yeah.
go home. So those two had engineering, and it was just going to tour the schools and what one kind of fit me. And when I came up to Stout, it really felt like home. So that's where I'm calling home right now for the next 2 more years, I guess. So
Awesome. Well, great. Again, thrilled to have you here and super excited for your perspective as, the newbie of us all really here. So
yep.
wonderful. All right. Well, turning it over to Anna. Anna, like I said earlier, is event specialist. And Anna, I mean, I've heard wonderful things about you when I connected with a few people in the community. Somebody was like, Anna's the a great person to talk to, and you're also YPF liaison. YPF is the Young
Yep.
Professionals of Fond du Lac group, all about career and professional development support for individuals like yourself. So
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about yourself and your role.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. It's great to be here and connect with you, everyone here on this important conversation, the workplace and success at the workplace, especially. That does relate heavily with what I do here at Envision Greater Fond du Lac. So, as events specialist, I oversee our Young Professionals of Fond du Lac program, like you mentioned, as well as our Leadership Fond du Lac program. And then, of course, being a nonprofit, I'm also pulled in other directions as needed, to help with our golf invitational or annual meeting or membership appreciation event, all sorts of different things. So I was born and raised in Fond du Lac. I went away to college at St. Norbert in De Pere, finished my Bachelor of Arts in English there, and then moved back home to try to figure out what was next. So I actually, my first job out of college was with Envision. And then in 2021, I actually left Envision, took a job as a paralegal, thinking I wanted to pursue law school. And then this past May, I came back. So I basically took a little bit of a hiatus, a year-long break to try to pursue something else, and ended up back where I started. So a lot of what we do as an organization and what I do in my role is community connections, and relationship building, really. And that's what I found I love to do. So,
You're at the right place then. This is
yeah.
fantastic. Well, I can't help, and I could see like Alan, chomping at the bit a little bit, perhaps wanting to go back to what you shared. So, I think it's amazing that you took that hiatus and explored the paralegal. Is that something that you decided like not for you, or I mean, I know I'm diving right into you right away, but
Yeah, no, it was,
Alan has somewhat of a similar story with a different
yeah.
field, and
No, it was really not for me. I would say that I excelled at the job itself. It was really about being organized and, being able to schedule and work with the lawyers and the other entities, involved in what kind of law was practiced there. Um, but I was really unhappy. It wasn't a good fit personality wise. So when I was looking for, another opportunity and I, heard that Envision was hiring again, um, the timing was perfect. So, and I'm glad
yeah.
I did it that way before I spent a bunch more money on law school. So,
Yeah, it would have been a bunch.
yeah.
That's for sure. Well,
But
Alan has talked. Oh, go ahead, Alan.
sure, no, I just had a question for you, Anna. Well, one thing to point out, because this is something that each of you represent that I think a lot of people weigh when they're thinking about what are they going to do in school. So, Anna, you've got a liberal arts degree,
Mhm.
and Mitch, you're going after something that, and it's not to say you couldn't get a job right away, you did. Mitch, you're going after something. You're really going after something. I mean, you're not going to, you have a specialty in a field. Of course, one of the questions comes up is one better than the other, and where do you hope that will take you? So I'm curious, Anna, when you were cruising into your senior year or thinking about the
Mhm.
world of work, any thoughts about what you really wanted, what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so when I was going to college, I didn't want to go to college. My parents wanted me to go, my family wanted me to go. I didn't want to. So basically, long story short is I toured a few different schools. Um, St. Norbert sent me an email offering scholarship money, like you're a great candidate. that's the only school I applied to and the only school I got an acceptance from. So I was like, great, I'm going there. I don't want to go, but that was easy. Now I'm going, easiest process. And when I got there, I knew I liked English and reading, and I basically chose a major on my interests. And I didn't have a clear path. And sometimes I do kind of think it might have been easier if I did. If I wanted to be a nurse or, something more defined where there's a straight path to get there. But at the end of the day, I ended up still figuring out where my passions are and finding a career that aligns with those. So yeah, that's tricky because sometimes I do wish I would have had the straight path, knew what I was doing, and it might have been easier to find a job coming out. I mean, I applied to 30, had 10 interviews, 5 offers, and took 1 job. Whereas I feel like sometimes if I would have done the straight path, I might have had offers before I even graduated. And that's just not how it worked. So
Yeah. How about you, Mitch? I know you're still in the thick of it here. What's you're thinking? Not that you have to make a decision today, as you leave school, about where you want to head, what you want to do.
Yeah, I have a vision in my head of kind of what I want to do, but that doesn't mean like I need to stick to the plan right away. I'm looking for, when I'm out of college, I'm looking for really any opportunity that comes my way. Ahern's a great company. It's a great company in the Fond du Lac area. It's well known around the area for sure, and out throughout the Midwest. But I don't want to hold myself to just one opportunity. With Ahern, if that opportunity would come, looking out towards other things that would come my way from different companies. I think right now for myself is just focusing on getting school done right now and
Sure.
Finishing with good grades and, trying to learn as much as possible and trying to find that right role that fits me. And like Anna said, is finding something that I really enjoy doing, finding a job that I would love to go into work every day, not knowing that, leaving the company and trying to find something new. Like I want to find a job that suits my role and suits what I'm passionate about. So yeah, I have a pretty clear understanding of what I want to do now, but like I said, it doesn't really, I'd like to see what other opportunities can come my way when I'm done with school. So,
Mitch, one of the things that you shared too when we were chatting, whenever that was, a few months back, you were basically saying like you're open to opportunities, which is great, and you don't want to assume like, okay, yeah, you've had multiple internships at that one company and they're great and they're supportive, but you don't want to assume it's just a shoe in the door either.
yeah.
So what conversations and what things and what other ways can you explore? So absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. Like for myself, it's just that, not assuming that I have a position right away. I'm an intern right now. I'm not, thinking that I have a job offer from that company after I'm done with school. Like I still want to work hard and prove to other people throughout the company that, I'm a hardworking kid and I'm willing to learn whatever's out there and take on different roles throughout the company or just learning new things throughout the company just to build my knowledge of what the mechanical construction industry looks like. So
That's great.
Mitch, what do you think has been, what jumps out at you as being one of the things that you've learned through this internship? And what I'm thinking is not just the business side, but anything else.
Yeah, I mean, just going from like my high school jobs into an actual professional job now, it's really changed my mindset on, how I feel like working in the office and working with other people and connecting with other people, asking the right questions. I think, that's a huge thing for what I did, is just asking questions and changing my thought process of, not doing it my way, but learning from other people. So.
Okay, well, that's cool. Anna, how about you? I know one of the first questions we had was, how prepared did you feel moving into the workplace?
Well, I didn't, which isn't to say I didn't have access to resources, because St. Norbert's Career Center actually was phenomenal. They had great resources. But coming into work on day one, I had no idea what to expect, because it's just funny. I'm thinking about what Mitch just said, about, showing people he's a hardworking kid. And I guess I'm trying to remember when I stopped seeing myself as a hardworking kid, and now I'm like a full-fledged adult in the workforce, and I feel like coming into this first job, even, I still felt like a kid, and I still felt like I didn't know what was next and what's happening and what the workforce would truly be like. I had internships. I've, worked basically since I could legally. And it really took months at this first job before I really felt like I was in any way, shape, or form an adult. And even still, I'm trying to figure that out and
Well,
navigate.
we're all trying to figure that out.
Yeah, right. I don't think that'll ever stop.
Yeah, it won't stop. And was there any one thing that, when the light bulb went off, was there an experience or a situation where you said, I'm not a kid anymore? I don't have to prove myself.
I honestly think it, for me, came when I quit my job at the law firm to come back to Envision. That was a really difficult conversation and moment, because after 3 months at the law firm, I tried to quit, and my boss told me no. And I took that as no, I was like, oh, okay, I can't quit, and ended up at a workplace for a year where I was really unhappy. I tried to quit. And not because of the people, again, the environment, it just wasn't a good fit, but yeah, so I was told no, and I took that as real life, and it wasn't. So when I really put my foot down and quit and made that decision, that was best for me, even though it was really difficult, that's when I was kind of like, okay, I have control here. I'm able to forge my own path a little bit. I really gained a lot of confidence in that year and in that particular experience.
I smell smoke, Jenny. Something's burning over there in Anna's box down there, and she's on the bottom left for me. Yeah. Oh no, somebody can tell you can't quit. Oh, how silly of me. Oh, thank you for pointing that. I thought I could, but I see it. That's a great insight and a great moment, and it won't be your only one in that kind of field.
Yeah.
Mitch, what about you? What do you think you have done thus far on the college level that's getting you prepared, or has gotten you prepared for work? And what I'm thinking is really kind of, has there been any assignment or a course or a person that said, come here, kid, let me explain to you what you're getting ready to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think just like in my degree, a big thing that up at UW Stout that I've really learned is how to be able to work in a group and be able to collaborate with others and talk with other people to get the problem solved. So I think all my classes that I've been a part of have done, great job of us being able to communicate with each other to solve the problems and fix what's wrong. In engineering, maybe not all the math classes are gonna really get you to what the real world is like, or not all the physics classes are going to get you to, what real life problems are like. But it's just that drive to get it done and move on. I think that's a big thing that got me ready for being in a workplace especially in the engineering that I'm doing is, being able to get a problem, fix it, ask questions, and then move on from it and get your next job. I think a lot of my assignments, a lot of my groups that I've been a part of has really helped me being able to mature and, be a bigger person. You work with some college students that, don't have the same mentality or drive as you do when you're working in a group or just as an assignment. But me, I've kind of taken it personally where it's like, all right, I want to have a drive to learn new things and, solve problems and be able to get it done and then move on to the next one. So.
Cool.
Yeah, your discussion about it, your mentioning of this collaboration and working together, that it's really touching on the discussion that we had with two individuals last month that were from organizations. They were doing the hiring, some of the firing, which I know Bill, he said he's regretted maybe not regretted, but just every fire. I don't think he had them saying, or telling people, no, you can't quit. So that was a unique experience for you to go through, Anna. But a lot of what we talked about last month was this idea of how do you develop that critical thinking? And that's a combination of applying what you're learning in the classroom, that is the math and the physics and the, interpersonal communications, but actually putting it into practice. And so it absolutely sounds like that's been critical for you, important for you.
There's got to be some lessons from the field, Mitch. There's got to be, not to go overboard on sports, but, when you're part of a team like that, and you talk about roles and responsibility and who does what and what happens when 10 people land on the same thing and nobody lands on the other thing. Is there anything out of the whole experience that you're having there that resonates with you as being most important?
Yeah, if we're talking like on like a team wise, like if I'm playing football, like you got a lot, and this can really relate to, if I back up a little bit, I'll tell you that our football team really we kind of, our motto is to build men and to build leaders that, can transition from in the school and on the football field to what's going to actually happen in the real world. And that's another thing that I really take, to heart and personally is, on the football field, in the classroom, you're dealing with a lot of different people from, different areas throughout Wisconsin, the Midwest, whatever. You're dealing with people with different cultures and, religions and everything that makes you different. So it's being able to connect with everybody, make a leader, and everybody focusing on one thing to win a game or finish an assignment or finish a project, stuff like that. So it's just being able to mature and deal with different people and finishing what you started. So
Sure. Well, always those lessons in a game, and Jenny knows this. I will, not that this means anything, it's not a commercial. Anna, what did you say? You wanted to quit after when?
I tried to quit at 3 months and I ended up not quitting until a little over a year.
Okay. I went to medical school and I quit after 6 weeks. Because I hated it. I didn't want to be there. So you said, well, why were you there? And then you go back into my psyche and realize, okay, who am I trying to please, and how do you get into medical school and walk away from it and all that kind of stuff? Well, there were some huge lessons learned there, but for me, it was, I mean, I know exactly when it happened. It was the day they took us on a tour of a city hospital. We went down to the morgue, and it's the smell of formaldehyde did me in, and it's like, I'm just begging, please, no one under a sheet in the morgue.
Oh, no.
I watch too much television. It's like, please don't do that to me. So, these epiphanies that really are they're not always life altering, but your ability to see that and understand it early on, to me is really something to think about, because it may not define what you want to do, but in this case, it clearly defined what you didn't want to do, whatever that was. It sounds like the working environment or something around that. I mean, legal profession is tough because you're on the clock and everything you do has to be billed out. And it's like, okay, well, so it's a game is my point. Every job is a game. School is a game. And I call that achieve and advance. You do, you advance, get good grades, get good marks, do your best, move on to the next thing. I mean, Mitch, you're talking about the projects you have. I'm not saying that's bad. It's just understanding that those are the dictates. What have you seen, Anna, about work that maybe is different than you expected when you first walked in to the workplace? What?
I guess really, so it's interesting too. I mean, I also waitress. So,
See everything there.
yeah, you see a lot of stuff there. In both environments though, I guess it's interesting how similar they are. For me, as I'm surprised that it's as laid back as it is, I guess, is kind of where I'm trying to get.
At work,
So
I'm sorry.
at work,
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, it really is a game. It's working, like you do with your team in football. I don't know a lot about football, Mitch, so don't be offended when I screw this up, but you need you need your team to score the touchdown, and it's hard work, and it's you have to communicate, and there is stuff that goes into it that way, but you're still having fun when you do it. So I guess I thought it would be all work and no play, and really being in the right environment, I realized that the work isn't as hard because I'm having a good time. And that applies, both with my waitressing and my professional career. They both have that element of, I don't mind going to work because even on a hard day, there are ways I'm having fun and enjoying myself. Yeah.
Sounds like heresy.
I love knowing that. What'd you say?
I said it sounds like heresy. Oh my God, I can go to work and have fun. It's like, okay,
yeah, like
you've got
like
work
no one
to do.
ever told me that,
Well, that's
It's
what. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, it's almost like everyone wants you to be scared to go to work. It's like you know what I mean? They want you to do your job, do it right. Like that's what I thought. That's kind of what it was going to be strict. It was going to be taxing. It should be hard. It should be, you should really, you only get out what you put in. And it's like you can have your cake and eat it too. You can work hard and accomplish things, but it doesn't have to be miserable.
Well, it definitely doesn't have to be miserable. And I know, Mitch, you identified where you work, so I don't want to put you on the spot there in the sense that, so what do you really think? No. How do you experience it in that light? Is it, and I'm thinking something specific, and I don't want to sway your thinking. It's just that, especially in the kind of work that you do, there's stuff that you learn to do. I'm not saying that you don't, Anna. This for what Mitch is doing sounds like there's a beginning, middle, and end. And it's like, okay, flip that page. Now what's next? Mm-hmm. What's what's been your experience of that, the non-task related part in terms of a working environment, and what you think has been influential for you, to you?
Yeah, I think, you know, Ahern's a great place. I said it before, Ahern's a great place to work. When I went into the work with them my first year, I was super nervous, not prepared at all. You know, I just was like, okay, I'm trying to learn something new here. It's basically what Anna said. It's, you know, you get your work done, you stress about it, and then you go home and you come back the next day. And that's, you know, that's what I thought. And then going through it and, you know, maybe my next internship, it's, being able to work with the people there and have fun doing it. The people at Ahern are extremely friendly, awesome to work with. It doesn't feel like work when I go and intern there back in Fond du Lac. Everybody's super friendly. I can, even people that aren't engineers, like I can go ask them questions and they'll have an answer for me, or, you know, guide me to where the answer might be. So I can go basically to anybody, ask them a question, or just have a conversation with them about what is it like to work at it. You know, I talked with a lot of people at Ahern
Great
and
question.
asked the people there. It's like, what do you think about the company? What makes Ahern great? And, you know, why are you still here? It's like, and we had a great conversation. I've had multiple great conversations with people and just understanding the environment that I'm around. And that's been a crucial thing. And that's kind of the step that I took from my first internship experience to my second one, is just being able to, you know, not only learn the knowledge about what I'm doing, like flipping the page. All right, I did the beginning of it. All right, flip the page. Here's the middle of it. Flip the page again. There's the end, right?
Right.
And now I've experienced where I can go and talk to somebody and figure out what the company is all about and learn different things. And that's kind of why I, you know, keep staying there and keep learning things from that company, because I enjoy it. So
For the people that are listening, but if nobody's listening, we're listening. Tell us the question or questions that you ask people to get at this. Even I know this sounds very basic, but like, how did you even bring this up? Do you recall what you've said or what you've done?
yeah, I mean, it's basically, you know, it's just going up for me and just having a simple conversation with them. Most of the time, I didn't really have like a piece of paper with all the questions that I wrote down.
I hope not. Yeah.
It was basically just a conversation, and then, you know, you get on a topic and just keep asking questions like, okay, like, where are you from? How did you get to the position that you got to? And I think that learning and meeting new people, that is the main question that I've asked a lot of people, is how did you get to where you are?
Yeah.
And then that question can lead on to a whole bunch of other things. And like, where did you work before this, or what other roles did you do beforehand? And where do you see yourself in the next 5-10 years? So those are kind of the questions that I like to ask. And it's not like I think demanding question. It's just a conversation piece and just learning about somebody. And you know, even with other interns throughout the company, it's like, hey, what other companies did you intern with, or new hires that come in? It's like, where did you work for that? So for me, Ahern's a company that I can see myself at. And this goes for anywhere that, if, like you said, if people are listening, you know, just meet new people, ask questions. Don't be afraid to go out and talk to other people, because that's what's going to build your relationship with other people throughout the company. And you never know who you're going to run into down the road. So
Absolutely, for sure.
It sounds like Mitch would be a great HR person. I'd
Well,
hire you for that.
yeah. Well, what Mitch is talking about, Anna, and I want to hear from you too, how this works. Just to piggyback on what I hear Mitch talking about, is how conversational this is and how non-confrontational it is. I mean, it may seem like if you put fear and power and a hierarchy. These are my concepts and words as I think about it. You put that on it, there's a heck of a lot more at stake. When it's like, so what'd you do before you got here? Or how, you're thinking about I'm thinking that too. What would I need to know, or what would I need to do? And we're big on that. I mean, those kind of conversations should never end. And people like to talk about themselves, people beyond me. It's just everybody if you'll listen to what they have to say, it's pretty powerful. What have you seen, Anna? And then Jenny, I'll be quiet. What have you seen in
No, you're
terms of
great.
building relationships and
Yeah.
how you've done that? And I'm not thinking of, it's just what comes to mind.
Yeah, it definitely starts at, I think, yeah, conversational level, casual, build that initial trust. For me, it's really important because both of the programs I oversee are volunteer led. So if I come in and try to dictate and take over everything, um, they might not like me and they might not trust me. So, um, I've been trying to get to know the individuals doing the work and help them feel comfortable to make decisions, and really build up. Like you said, people like to talk about themselves and they like, they have certain interests. So trying to get to know those so I can work with them and build them up and kind of be their cheerleader, is something I've been trying to do. And really, it's a new experience for me, as a profession. So I'm still learning as I go, but really, it's kind of striking that balance of being, almost like a friend, but also, uh, a leader. I think both of those things and empowering them to be those things too.
Where'd you learn that? How'd you learn that?
Uh, I have a great support system. The team here at Envision has been really great at, um, supporting me, encouraging me, showing me different tactics to do some of those things. My bosses, Joe and Sadie, they're really have been elemental in those things, but also just, uh, if you take one of those personality quizzes, the skills assessment, whatever, I'm a
Right.
relationship builder. That's kind of my jam. I like to meet new people. I like to get to know them. So I think part of it too is just naturally I'm a cheerleader, so that
Yeah,
part
who you
fits,
are.
but
And that's great.
That's awesome. Well, I can't. It's just amazing. I'm gobsmacked at neither one of you, I don't believe, has read the book, or maybe you've browsed ladderburners.com, but so much of what you're sharing is in wonderful alignment, and it's also confirming so many different things. I mean, Alan and I are a ways away from our past experiences starting out in the workplace. And so it's really intriguing to hear how you're talking about the stuff with candor and realness and insight to your experience. And I love that how you shared, Anna, that you had that career resource center you could go to, but then and Mitch, you too, you came into the various workplaces, you asked the questions, you weren't
Right.
afraid to just get to know people and build that base of competence and credibility and build that trust. It's so important. One of the wonderings I have, because of course if you look at any of the content that's out there tied to ladder burners, and I would say you are absolutely a bridge builder. That's like instrumental piece in this puzzle, the game we're playing, called work here. And so one of the things though, um, is regarding taking control of your work or taking control of your career specifically. So many individuals out there, and myself included, I got into the workforce, I looked to my boss or my managers, and I waited for them to say you're doing a good job, like here's that raise, here's that promotion, or I would, hop to the next job to get that. So I'm curious, when you guys think about past experiences or what you envision as a future experience, have you had those conversations directly with the manager, directly with the boss? Has that been scary, or has that been just as conversational?
I think, yeah, well, when I have conversations like that with my managers, and I have a very, like, on a good personal level with my managers, where I can go and talk to them basically about whatever I want, like within reason. I can just go and, go and talk to them, whether it's about work, how their weekend was, what are they doing this weekend, like just building that relationship with them and building that trust, so that, if there's a next position that's available, they'll trust me to be able to do that and, work towards a different, a new goal. So I think, for me, it's just being able to talk to my manager on a personal level, and, having just simple conversations with them, and not asking them the boiled down question. It's just having a conversation with them is really huge for me.
Yeah, I also having that type of relationship with a manager has been very important for me as well, and really something that I'm continuing to learn is to be my own advocate. So, for example, not letting someone tell me no when I want to quit a job, So, I'm really trying to develop more confidence to continue to ask the hard questions and continue to um, help move myself forward in the ways that I think are best for me. Um, so building that trust, of course, with your manager is so important for that, so that your conversations that might be more difficult are not,
Can you get,
because I can be transparent with my manager and say it comfortably rather than feeling like I'm putting someone out. And I do think it's a mix of that trust as well as my own confidence that I'm
can you,
working on.
can you, yeah, well, you're doing a great job in that respect, I think. Can you think of an example that would be, you say, a difficult situation, and I'm not talking about anything deeply personal. I'm just curious what, you say, well, you have the confidence and transparency around
Sure.
it.
So one thing in my past experience and in general, I think that's super important now, because this is why you work, is money. Money is hard for people to talk about. So if I want to go after a raise and I know, we're a smaller nonprofit, maybe it's not in the budget, how do I have that conversation and advocate for myself and the great work I've been doing, and I deserve that raise, that's, to me, I mean, is a difficult conversation, and maybe it
Sure.
shouldn't be, but how do you fight
Well,
for yourself for that?
but yeah, it sure beats, when will I get a raise? When are you going to pay me more? I think your approach
Yeah.
is spot on.
Yeah, that's great. Well, it fits in really well. Speaking of money, speaking of conversations with the manager, the boss, um, how would each of you describe how you define success right now? What would come to mind? Success at work. What does that look like for you? And Anna, you can start. Sorry, Mitch.
Well, success at work for me, um, is that I think I've said this probably 5 times already, but that I'm able to get my job done and be happy. Um, I really would like to think that if I died tomorrow, they wouldn't hire someone for my position right away, but that's not how things typically go. Um, I'm only a part of the puzzle, and I really try to make sure that I don't sacrifice my happiness and well-being for a job. So keeping in mind that there should be a balance with me getting my work done and completing tasks and, being successful in a way that's tangible and like provides results for the company, it needs to be on the same level as my own personal happiness and well-being. So I think as long as those things are aligned, I am successful at the workplace, and that's kind of the model I follow.
Yeah,
Right.
Great.
I would kind of say the same thing. Like, I mean, just saying kind of what Anna said is, you know, if I'm doing my job and I'm having a good time doing it around with the people that, you know, I enjoy being around, I think that's extremely successful on my, like, for what I'm doing. Another thing for like any intern that's out in a company, when you hear feedback from managers, that's successful in itself. Like just being able to, even if it's, you know, hey, you should do this different, or maybe do this different next time. That to me is like successful. You know, you go and talk to your manager and you get feedback from them. And then another thing that I think would be very successful for myself is, and again, what Anna said is you look towards one goal that, you know, for me, whether it's designing this big building or whatever, just for example, you know, we're all looking at the same goal. And you know, when I do my job and the work that I do is crucial for the project to get done, I think that's really successful for myself, knowing that what I did really matters and is going to help the company at the end.
Yeah, very profound
That's great.
group there, Jenny.
Yeah, we absolutely have some alignment here. I really appreciate how you were, both of you are looking at what success might look like from the organization or from the manager's perspective, but then, as you said, Anna, advocating for yourself and taking control and not waiting. And so it's such a great example and reminder of how we shouldn't take things so serious. I mean, of course, it's important to have food on the table and pay the rent and bills or whatever, but that really, when it comes to work, to not lose yourself in it. Um, it's just not worth it. We are coming up on just shy of 2:30, so I want to be respectful of everybody's time. But a couple of ending questions, and we've touched on different things that it's just great advice across the board. But if you were to give some advice to other people like you, your peers, whether it be college students or other interns for you, Mitch, or Anna, other young professionals, what advice would you give? And Mitch, you can start.
Yeah, I guess I can like break it down into like each group. Like just real quick here. Like if I were in to tell like somebody who's just coming into college, like you know, somebody that might be nervous about, you know, oh, it's transitioning from high school to college, it's really different. What I would tell them and give them the advice is don't be afraid to learn new things. Don't be afraid to reach out to your professors and ask questions, and reach out to other students and ask questions. I think that's a huge thing. And for interns, I know I hear this a lot and you guys might hear it as well, but be a sponge is huge. Soak up as much information as possible. Ask every single possible question. Just soak up as much information as possible, because you never know who you're going to talk to and
Right.
network with. Maybe if somebody that's not me, taking 3 different internship roles, take something from each position at each different company and maybe transition it for your career. Maybe it betters the next company, but be able to soak up all this information that you're learning, and go and help your career with it. And then for myself, I would say for young professionals, I mean, I can try to vouch for them, but I think one thing would be like Anna's doing is take control of your career. Never be satisfied with one job. If you're not happy in one job, go find another job. You got to go to work and do what you love to do, because that's what you can't just sit in an office chair and dread every hour of the day and expect to go home and be happy. So you gotta be able to enjoy what you do and find a career path that suits you best. So
Great advice.
That's great, Mitch. Yeah. Connect to the people. It's in my experience, it's always been about the people. The people have made every single position and organization I've been in. It's thinking back is what I would go back to. I mean, the roles were there was something I learned. I was that sponge too, but it's always been the people. So great insights and advice, Mitch. What about you, Anna?
Well, beyond being an advocate for yourself, my advice to any of these groups, graduates, interns, YPs, would be that it's okay not to know what your path is. It's funny. Life has a way of throwing you where you're supposed to be, and I fully believe that. The only other two snippets I would share is don't compare yourself to others.
Amen.
Obviously, mine and Mitch's paths are very different. But I would say if we're both happy at work, we're successful, right? I mean, our successes can be different. That's okay. And other people's opinions shouldn't affect what makes you happy. And lastly, something I've learned kind of today in this moment is not to be afraid to share your story.
Right.
Again, that looks different for everybody, and I don't know who might benefit from hearing some of the things I've gone through, good, bad, and otherwise, and I can always grow from hearing those things from others. So being open to those conversations, I think, is vital for personal and professional growth.
Yeah. So good, Anna. That's fantastic.
Where'd you find these two, Jenny? I feel like you went on the internet and said, I want two cool ladder burners that are starting out and work, and your names came up. Oh, and you just happen to live in the area. I think there's so much that you're describing that people need to hear, because it's different for me to hear it from you than to read about it or write about it. And I mean, I think while I think some of that is fun and interesting, our goal is, how do we help people have these conversations? It's about, I mean, I can relate to the law practice so easily. And Mitch, when you talk about being a sponge, we talk about, Jenny and I talk about the learning lab. Why not approach jobs like you could walking into a lab, except the difference is two things. One is it's your lab, and two is you're getting paid for it. So when you say, Anna, I want to learn how to sell this idea to this group of people, how do I do that? And what a legitimate question that is to ask somebody that's experienced. Tell me what you think. Here's my thoughts. Tell me what you think. So really wonderful answers, and you guys are great. And such a soft touch, Jenny. I don't know, did they get a book or a mug, or I don't know. We'll have or everything that we have.
We'll connect you. Yeah, we'll connect you with something. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have two more questions, and then we'll call it a wrap. So the second to last question that I have for you is, when you think about, well, I'll let you pick. If you were to give advice to a college professor or that college career center and what they could do to support young professionals, what would it be? Or if you want to choose the workplace, someplace you've worked or any organization, how could they better or best support you as a young professional? What advice would you give to them? I'll let you guys pick.
I think my answer is the same for both. Get to know the people you're
Great.
serving. If I would have experienced, on college campus, maybe more individualized resources and help, I don't know if things would have turned out any different, but I know that's something in the workplace I've experienced to be so helpful. If the people trying to teach me things don't have any interest in who I am and how I learn,
Right.
it's not conducive for anyone, for either of us. So it's just really important to know your constituents, know the people you serve. You're right. I'm a bridge builder. Build those bridges, That would be my thought.
Yes, you are.
Great insights, great advice. What about you, Mitch?
Yeah, I would say the exact same thing, get to know who is working for you, know how they work, what, are they a morning person, or do they work best in the afternoon, kind of stuff like that.
Sure.
And it makes a difference, getting to know people on a personal level. Like, I think that would be huge in the workplace. And in school, some of the things that, some of the professors that I've had at Stout here, and they do a great job with, is understand just like in the workforce, understand the students that you are teaching. Not every single student learns the same way. Right. So if you, and I know it's difficult with, some bigger universities where there's, 40 to 50 kids in a class, but still you got to be able to, I think, get to know the students that you're teaching. What environment do they learn best in, and be able to connect with your students. And maybe professors have a lot of connections, right? Maybe show them a way to, or give them somebody to connect with, like have a conversation with them, show them a career path that and talk to them that they might go want to do. I think having that conversation with them is really, really something that, professors and educators need to do, is, just being able to connect with your students and understand them. So.
Great advice.
Yes, it fits in all of our conversations that we've had these last 3 months about preparation for the workplace and workforce and all of that. There's been so many similarities, and of course, all comes back to ladder burning and bridge building. So, what a surprise!
What a coinky dink.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my last question, initially, I mean, I wrote it down, but as we've been talking, I feel like you've each answered it, is would you guys say that you're a ladder burner? Would you put that on your resume? Would you put that on your LinkedIn profiles? And what does that look for you? I mean, if it's yes, absolutely. I know, Anna, you said you're a bridge builder, but if it is an absolute yes, what does that look like to you? What does that mean to you going forward from this day on?
Well, I definitely feel better qualified after this. I mean, with the ladder burner folks themselves, yeah, I really think staying connected, being open and honest, not being afraid to do what's best for me within work and my personal life even too. I think that that has a lot to do with it, is kind of finding that confidence to keep on the path that's right for me.
That's going to continue, like you said, continue to reveal itself. It's each one of us has our days when we still feel like that kid, and that path is ever evolving. I think there's graphs and visuals where you think your career development is point A and then point B and it's a straight line. Heck no, it's all over the place, and definitely the right mindset of growth and, advocating, and so wonderful. Absolutely. What about you, Mitch?
Yes, I would definitely consider myself to be that conversation, the conversation that we had. I looked over the website before, and I looked at the cover of the book where it's ladder burner, and then with a bridge over it, and that really kind of it struck me. It's like that's kind of how I see and take that metaphor is, everybody thinks they want to take the next step in your career, right? But instead of taking that next step, just individually, you should instead build bridges with people, have conversations with people, network with other people, because that's going to get you to your next spot. It's not how high up you can go, it's how many people you can take and learn from to build your career. So, and that's what how I see my career as well, is being able to take that and connect with other people's and go from one place to another place. It doesn't necessarily need to be how much more money can I make? What's the next step? Instead, it's like, what people can I influence and what people can I lead for a common goal? So.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So Anna, you're local, right? You're right here in Fond du Lac. And Mitch, what about you? You out there in the
I'm up in
Jennyland?
I'm up in Menominee, Wisconsin right now.
Yep.
Yeah, but I live in Campbellsport, so and I just
there we go. Okay,
Yep.
that's cool. Okay, because we want to see you again, both
Yeah,
of you.
for sure.
Maybe we can work out something, have some more, and you might think of another couple of people or two we could include in the conversation. I just want to say, from my perspective, you not only have you talked about some important things, I've learned a lot from both of you, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Ditto to Alan's comments and sentiments. It's been fantastic. So insightful. And I also am going to follow up with both of you, because we're planning a book club where we're just going to grab the book. Anybody that wants to jump on, I mean, if you've read it, great, you'll get more out of it. But if you just want to partake in the conversation too, we'll make sure to get links out. That's coming up in October. But bring your friends, share it with your friends. It's like Alan said, the things that each of you have said here today need to be shared. That work, I mean, it's important, obviously, but we don't need to take it so seriously. That it can be a game that's about connecting with people, supporting yourself, and having fun. I mean, that's what Alan and I are here to do, to talk about things, change how people think about work, and have some fun. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you to you both. We'll connect soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. It's been great. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you for having me on, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk. And it was a great conversation with you guys this afternoon.
Thank you.
Loved your stories.